This is Focus with Jack Caudill.
And good evening, I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome to this month's edition of Focus. This month we're talking about research at the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology here in Rapid City. 3 guests with us to talk about that tonight. Dr. Jim Rankin, he is a School of Mines graduate, now back as the school's 19th president. Joseph Wright, he is the Associate Vice President for Research and Economic Development. And Dr. Jeffrey McHugh, Professor and Head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Now, the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology has been around since 1885, 4 years before South Dakota became a state. In addition to turning out graduates, research continues to become a growing focus at the school. In 2009, the school received $21 million in research funding, and that work continues today. Dr. Rankin, we're going to start with you. As you look at the mission of the School of Mines, how does all of this research fit in with what the school is aiming to do?
Yeah, I really believe that research adds to what we're doing from an academic perspective. The faculty are very engaged in research. They have graduate students that are helping them out, and hopefully they'll have some undergraduate research or undergraduate students working on the research as well. But I think it really invigorates them back in the classroom because they're working on state-of-the-art innovations, and they get to bring that back, talk about it in the classroom, and I think that really adds to what that student is getting in the undergraduate classroom. And of course, research leads to innovation, which leads to commercialization, which leads to new startup companies, and leads to more jobs in South Dakota, which is exactly what we want to do.
Now, Joseph, as you look at the research down there at the school, how do you see that fitting in with the university as a whole?
Well, you know, research is an important part of what we do because I think it helps to keep faculty and students on the cutting edge and relevant in the marketplace. Our students are highly sought after, and I think it's because of some of those experiences doing research on campus that employers want to come and recruit students away from the School of Mines. And I think if you don't have research, if you don't have faculty doing cutting edge stuff, you wouldn't have that opportunity, you wouldn't have that kind of gravitational pull for those kinds of industry folks.
And Dr. McHugh, as you look at research, how does that fit in with the School of Mines and the goal and the mission of the university?
I think it fits in very well. I agree that the innovation, the experience adds to the overall learning environment. Our students are better prepared. They're on the cutting edge. It brings a lot of excitement into the classroom, and it really charges our students and faculty. We see benefit all across the board in enhanced education, better preparedness, and better jobs when they leave.
Now, when you use the term research, what are we talking about? That's a pretty wide range of things that are going on. What kind of things constitute research down there at the school?
It's a broad spectrum. We have everything from top-level PhD research, which is cutting edge around the planet, novel technologies, novel science happening, down to a much, I think, a broader form of research where it's a new experience for the students, new to the classroom, new to undergraduate education. It can be just rearranging things in a novel way. And often that's a very productive form of research. We come up with a new way of doing something out of known science, and our undergraduates are involved in that. And it produces some of the best graduates that I've ever been around. And they're ready for the marketplace, and they're ready to do some great things.
How much of a benefit is that for the students to be involved in this while they're here before they go out?
Huge. That they're charged up, they're more engaged in the classroom. I believe it gives them stronger opportunities for internships and co-ops. And then when they start to interview and look at companies, it broadens their perspective and gives them better opportunities. And also they take this out into the workplace, and I think it generates innovation and entrepreneurship in our businesses in Rapid City and the region.
Now, Joseph, what's the goal of research done at the school? Is it coming up with new innovations, new inventions? Is it things that can help economically, help businesses? Or is it all of those things?
Yes. I mean, obviously those are all critical goals in doing research. Obviously, my side of it is taking research. I run something called the Office of Economic Development, and our goal is to take all this brain power, all this creative genius, and try to find ways to apply that to make people's lives better. And ultimately, I think that's what research is all about, is answering those questions that we have around the world, big questions, challenges that we face. And then ultimately my job is to take all of that quest for answers and try to figure out how we can commercialize that and drive it to the marketplace.
So how does that help the students that you have if they're looking to start businesses of their own, starting other ways to go as they graduate from here?
Well, we've been working on helping students to itch that entrepreneurial spirit, if that's something that they want to do, and it's another added pathway that a student might choose. But certainly students at the School of Mines have choices on where they're going to go, for employment. And we think that creating students that are innovative, that know how to look at the questions and challenges that are posed in the world and then try to answer those are going to be better employees as well for established companies. So we can go entrepreneurial and startup and new venture and the risk kind of side of things, or our students have a reputation for being innovative within companies and within established systems already. So I think that's important.
Dr. Rankin, as far as the economics of this, how does this help these students after they graduate from here?
Well, it gives them a broader experience. And what's interesting is because they often are working on an interdisciplinary team, sometimes it's an intercultural team. You may be a mechanical engineer, but you're working with somebody from computer science. You might be working somebody from electrical engineering. And that's when you get out into industry. Almost every team you'll find out in industry has multiple disciplines working together. So this gives you a chance to taste that, a chance to experience it. The other piece that we probably don't talk about as much, when you're on that team, it gives you a chance to build your leadership skills. And we often talk that our graduates, we have a 97% placement rate, but we don't often talk about the leadership opportunities that come out of the School of Mines, the people who've gone on to be a CEO or been an executive vice president. And I think those experiences, part of the research, part of the academics, but I think that's what really gives them that foot up when they get out to industry.
Has the school built up a reputation over time that helps those students along through the research and through the kind of projects that we're talking about here?
Definitely. We'll have a career fair this fall. We'll have 150 companies show up to interview our students. In the springtime, we'll probably have 115 to 120 companies show up. Sometimes they're looking for full-time employees, sometimes they're looking for interns to come. Other universities I've been at, industry didn't come to your campus. You emailed in a resume and some keyword finder would go through to see if you might be a possible fit. Here, the companies know what they're getting. They come to campus because they want to talk to the students face to face.
Now, in 2010, the school initiated a research strategic planning effort focusing on 4 major areas of research: energy, the environment, materials and manufacturing, underground science and engineering, and science, technology, engineering, and math education. How do those all fit together, and what are they doing in those areas?
Well, I'm going to allow some of the other folks to speak on some of the details in that area, but we take a look at where our concentrations are. We may have one faculty working in one area by himself or herself, and that's great. Other places we work in teams and we have like a center where we have multiple people working together, and that tends to be our cluster. That tends to be one of our research strengths that we really go after. And you can see that it fits into things that are in South Dakota. Underground science, obviously with the Sanford Underground Research Facility just up the road in Lead, there's outstanding basic research going on in science up there that allows our students and our faculty to go work. Others are in advanced materials. How do we keep working? How do we make industry better in South Dakota so that we can create more jobs here? And in education, that's something we do all the time. How do we improve what we're doing to educate? And the classrooms are changing. How much of it's going to be virtual reality? How much of it is going to be some other learning technique? And so that also goes along with our research.
Now, Dr. Magoo, he mentioned the Sanford Underground Research Facility. How much of a boon is that for students at the School of Mines to have that so close by here?
It's a great resource. It fits into a lot of different areas in terms of enhancing physics education, enhancing opportunities for internships. Their outreach is fabulous. This last year, our Unmanned Aerial Systems team, a student club, was allowed to fly in the mine. They wanted to build a search and rescue drone, and Sanford brought them up helped set the safety, and our kids ran a competition up there and had a Pikachu, a little Pokemon doll that they hid in the back of the mine, and they sent a bunch of drones in and searched for it and found it. So this was an interdisciplinary group of mining engineers and the folks at Sanford, electrical engineers, computer engineers. A lot of students came together to solve this problem. So it provided teaming, leadership, and then a lot of fairly sophisticated research in terms of machine learning and other technologies. So pretty exciting stuff that Sanford provides.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll continue our look at research at the School of Mines. We'll take a look at some of the things that are happening right now. Join us for that and more when we come back with this month's edition of Focus. Good evening, I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome back to this month's edition of Focus, talking about research at the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Joseph Wright is the Associate Vice President for Research and Economic Development. You guys have a lot of different things going on, research mines. Anything in particular that stands out to you that you see as especially exciting and innovative that's going on right now?
Well, there's too many things to mention fully, but President had mentioned materials. We have two really exciting startup companies that are now maturing, and both of those are in the areas of materials. One of them is VRC Metal Systems, which now has 50 employees, and that technology really bubbled out of research on how to use additive manufacturing to develop new processes to repair and replace and do additive manufacturing on machinery that's aging. And so that's a company and a technology that's really started out of research, and it's kind of exciting. Another technology that we're commercializing that we think has a lot of potential is highly advanced filtration media and a company called Nanoparel. And that, again, same kind of thing, funded research. These guys are brilliant, incredibly smart faculty that work to develop this material that can lower the amount of energy and time to produce what used to be very expensive pharmaceuticals and other things that need to be processed through use of high-end filtration material like they're developing. So. Cool technologies.
How exciting is it for you to watch them come up with these ideas and then see them become economically viable and economically successful?
Well, that's kind of my passion, right? I mean, that's why I got into, I was going to be a patent attorney at one time, and that was way too boring. This is way too exciting to see. Every day I'm excited to go to work and work with brilliant, folks that are highly innovative. School of Mines faculty are 3 times more inventive than the national average, and it's fun to see these folks work and solve problems and then try to take those and create opportunities in the marketplace.
Now, Dr. Jeffrey McHugh is a professor and head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. As you look at some of the research going on down at your end of the campus down there, what are you especially excited about that's going on these days?
Well, there are a number of things, but the one that really stands out right now is the new word is mixed reality. It's a mixture of virtual reality and augmented reality. And we have a mixed reality research group that's doing some fabulous things. It started about 4 years ago when we asked the fundamental question, can we do better in education? Can we educate students better using virtual reality? And that got national press. We got funded, and the Air Force took notice. Right now, the Air Force is trying to find ways to more effectively train pilots. And so they came to us and they wanted to know, as experts in engineering education and in virtual reality, could we help them? So that's, fast forward to now, we have one of their pilot trainers in our building. And so we're partnering with the Air Force to develop an artificial intelligence guided or machine learning system to train the current generation of pilots. So pilots right now, they have a lot of chair time. They get on the machine and they think and imagine and walk through a lot of scenarios in their mind. And the Air Force wants to do this in virtual reality. And then we're being tasked to, can we write scenarios? Can we have the machine throw tasks at them, watch it, see how well they did, and then come back and give them practice scenarios, different training sessions? Can we make it more realistic? Can we make it more effective? So we can increase the level of training and increase their proficiency before they actually set into a plane. So it's a very exciting project. All in virtual reality. We're working to mitigate sickness. We're working to give a better haptic system So, and we're seeing this to be able to grow into a variety of different industries. But right now we're starting with the Austin Pilot Training Group down in Texas.
How cutting edge is this stuff that you're doing?
I believe it's right on the forefront. I don't think there's any sort of artificial intelligence enhanced pilot training program out there. At least what we're doing for the Air Force is brand new, and it involves an immense amount of machine learning and data analytics. We have a long-standing research group in artificial intelligence. It's been around for 30 years, so we're poised to do this work, and we hope that we can have these systems where we don't have to have very well-trained pilots in there for each student. The students can go in and the system can train them, and by the time they walk into their T6, they've had hundreds and hundreds of hours of expert training without taking away the lieutenant colonels off the flight line.
Now, when you look at that kind of work, how much of that is faculty, how much of that is students?
It's right now, a lot of it is faculty work because we're learning to break up the problem, so it's pretty cutting edge, and our faculty are going to decompose and chop it up, but the goal here is to provide work for our graduate students and our undergraduates. Dr. Rankin mentioned senior design. We're going to take pieces of this project and make it senior design so our undergraduates have the ability to get in and work on parts of the research project. So we see it across the spectrum at all levels, from faculty, PhD students down to second year sophomore students. So we're very excited about our virtual reality research.
Now, Dr. Jim Rankin is the president at the School of Mines, also a School of Mines graduate. How proud are you when you look back and see this is what our students are coming up with?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I'm going to back up for a second and talk about my research for a second, because my research is in flying cars, because we're all going to be the Jetsons soon, and I have to tell the students coming in that they should ask their parents who the Jetsons are, because they don't always know who that is. But we're all going to be flying around, but that's my challenge to them is you're only limited by your imagination. We don't know what we're going to invent the next day, so challenge yourself. What is it that we're going to be looking at? What's the next revolution? We often suggest you're out there to change the world. And we have so many grand challenges out there in clean water and clean food, clean environment. How do we know that somebody from South Dakota or South Dakota School of Mines isn't going to be the one that leads that opportunity? So it's fun to come back and see what the students are doing, but it's going to be even more fun to see what they do in the future.
How many steps forward has this taken from the research from when you were a student there?
I'm not even sure I could have told you what the research was going on the campus when I was a student. It's a different perspective now. I think you see the academics and the research blended together. It's more of a complete package now than when I was a student.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll continue our look at research at the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology when we come back with this month's edition of Focus. And I'm Jack Caudill. Welcome back to this month's edition of Focus, talking about research going on at the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Dr. Jeffrey McHugh is a professor and head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. You know, hear a lot of high-tech stuff. Robotics, I understand, is a big focus of the research that you guys are doing. What's going on over there right now in robotics?
So we have multiple domains we're experimenting in. We have a very mature group in terms of aerial robotics, drones, and then ground robotics is another big area. A lot of our research has been on the artificial intelligence side. We're teaching our robots to run independently, to not be remote controlled. So for example, we were approached by some individuals from the Forest Service who were interested in having a robot that could drive along jeep trails autonomously and be able to set up telemetry stations, so be able to be a repeater, so they wouldn't have to have a firefighter in a dangerous situation or take a firefighter off the line. But that would require a robot that could see, that could understand roads and drive itself and then do all the actions on its own without a remote control. So this level of autonomy, machine intelligence, computer vision are some of the research topics that our faculty are working on. We have, one of our faculty members has code on Mars. His autonomy code is on the Pathfinder. So it's been a very long-standing tradition at the School of Mines.
Joseph Wright is Associate Vice President for Research and Economic Development. You're running the Entrepreneur in Residence program. How does that work and how does that interact with your students over there?
Well, you know, both our faculty and our students are, like we said, incredibly innovative. And one of our desires was to get that technology out into the marketplace. And so what we've done is aggressively recruited business executives and successful serial entrepreneurs to come help us in that effort. And this is this group of entrepreneurs and residents, about 40 strong. It's folks from all over the North America who are venture capitalists and serial entrepreneurs, and they gather regularly here on campus, on the School of Mines campus, to help us look at technologies and figure out how we can get those out to the consumer. So it's an exciting group. They also help with our business plan competition. We have a very successful business plan competition for our students that we launched about 5 years ago. We've had over 100 teams, student teams, create business plans and pitch those plans to these kinds of folks in an effort to commercialize the research and innovation that they're doing on campus.
Now, Dr. Jim Rankin is the president over at the School of Mines, and this stuff incredibly complicated. But what does this mean just for the guy here in town? What effect does all of this have on him or her?
Well, not only is the research, but we want to see the research commercialized. You know, when I graduated from here 40 years ago, there wasn't a job for an electrical engineer in South Dakota. There was like one company. We need to create jobs because we have a lot of our graduates would love to stay in Rapid City, would love to stay in the Black Hills. And that's what this entrepreneurial mindset is. We've got to figure out how we create jobs. It's going to be tough if we're looking to bring GM or trying to bring Amazon to South Dakota, but we're going to be much more successful if we take the high-tech, the technology type jobs and create companies around that. That's how we're going to keep improving the economy here in South Dakota and the Black Hills area.
How about the future? What do you see coming out of the school 10, 20 years from now?
That's a very good question, but we're trying to figure that out. We're changing a little bit. We've just added a brand new biomedical engineering degree, which is will start this fall. We've got a brand new business management and technology degree because a lot of our alums have become CEOs and said, I sure wished I'd had a few business classes or a few more of them when I went through campus. So we've got a brand new degree in that. And we're just looking to see what that next thing is that we need to focus on. But at the same time, we've got things like mining engineering. Some of those big trucks and some of those big excavators are autonomous now. There's not an operator in there. The world's changing, and so we need to make sure we're keeping up and thinking of some of those technologies that are moving forward.
Joseph, how about you? How about down the future? What do you see coming out of those programs down the road?
Well, you know, we have some expertise in very specific areas. I think those strengths will continue to develop in material science and additive manufacturing. We're just really strong in those areas. Computer science, the stuff they're doing with the virtual and augmented reality is really exciting. And when folks come on campus and they see the stuff we're doing, these seem to be the areas that they're focused on and excited about. So I think they'll just mature and grow.
Dr. Migu, how about you? What do you see as the future of research over there and what you guys are doing?
Well, I'll echo what Joseph said. I think virtual reality has a fabulous future in many different ways. And augmented reality, I think we'll start blending with our devices and using them in novel and creative ways. The autonomous systems research we do, giving robots the ability to make some decisions on their own and do some things, seems to be the future, at least for when we look at John Deere and Caterpillar, where they're going. So I feel like autonomous robotics and virtual reality are our destiny for the next decade or so.
All right, got about 30 seconds. How exciting is this for you to watch these new developments come along?
It's fabulous. You know, I remember the Jetsons and the flying car and thinking, we didn't see that, but we're seeing some things we never expected. And with the anniversary of the moon landing, I'm just really excited with the work and our brilliant students creating the future. And I'll walk in and see something I never expected every day. It's really a lot of fun up there.
All right, we are, Dr. Rankin, how about you? How exciting is this to watch all this unfold?
This is really exciting, and we really appreciate the opportunity to come here because I'm not sure how many people in Rapid City actually realize what we do at the School of Mines. We try to do more outreach, but it takes efforts like this to talk about what's going on, and we just would love them to come meet our faculty, staff, and students to see what the future is looking at.
All right, I got to cut you off. We're out of time. Dr. Jim Rankin, Joseph Reich, Dr. Jeffrey McGew, thank you guys for coming up. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again the first Sunday night of next month. Good night.